just ends up being a collaborative effort with the game team, what they want to show, and what we have the ability to do, because we're limited obviously in time, and we just try to pick those key moments. But yeah, of course there are tons of times that we'd love to show Arthas and Illidan going at it on up in Northrend and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah, hi. I love your cinematics. I'm also a compositor, and I was wondering if you guys have a dedicated compositing team, because you didn't seem to touch on the, like you touched on the effects and stuff, but do you just do that all through, like, say, Maya or Max or Houdini, or do you like have a nuke artist go and assemble everything together? Because it's like, oh, how'd they do
No, we
that?
do have a dedicated lighting and compositing team. If you're curious what software they use, they render in Maya and RenderMan, and then they composite in Nuke. You guys want to elaborate on that, Mike?
Yeah, without them, there wouldn't be a cinematic. They're fantastic, and we have, I think it's about 20, 21 people on our lighting compositing team.
It's a big group.
So it's a big group.
Hi, I love your cinematic for the Wrathgate. It was very well done, but one of the questions that I had to ask is, at least as far as I could tell, there was no cinematic for the Battle of Gilneas, and it actually has a very similar feel to the Wrathgate battle. So I'm kind of wondering if there will be a cinematic for the Battle of Gilneas.
You want to hit that, Taryn?
Well, the game team oftentimes asks us to help fill in these moments, like Jeff was saying, that we have to choose wisely, and usually nothing's ruled out as far as coming down the pipe, right? The two cutscenes that we have today are the ones that we're rolling out with, but that doesn't exclude any future moments that we may be able to create should the game team ask us to do that. So.
Hi, in Fall of the Lich King, you added hubs where people could see the cutscene if they hadn't killed Arthas, or go back and watch other cutscenes like Wrathgate. Do you plan on doing anything in Cataclysm where you can go back and watch some of the cutscenes that maybe you didn't kill Deathwing, but you can watch what happened afterwards?
That's a good question.
Really
we probably
good
have to ask the WoW devs over there if they're going to hook that up.
I was wondering if you guys could walk us through his path of travel from the beginning of the cinematic to the end.
Yeah, I'll field that one. Actually, it's not a literal path of travel. I think if you mapped out just based on what you see in the cinematic, it wouldn't make a lot of sense. We really approached it a little more artistically. That's sort of where the montage part comes in, because we really wanted to show a darkening of the world. We wanted to go from the hot areas, and then as Deathwing flies over, we get progressively darker until by the time we get to Stormwind, we're sort of trying to echo the look of Deepholm from the beginning, where you get a dark sky and a lot of dark shadows and a lot of firelight. So, Darkshore was always going to come after the Barrens, for example, because lighting-wise, that was just an artistic choice that we wanted to make.
I'm Caleb, Alliance from Dark Iron. One of the most fascinating and immersing parts of the game for me is the weather effects, and I'm just wondering how complex the process is incorporating them into the cinematics.
Was that incorporating weather effects into cinematics? Oh, that's a really good question. Oftentimes in our cinematics we have to do wind, and that itself sounds like no big task, but it actually involves a lot of departments, especially if there are characters in the scene as well. We have to work with our sim group. We have a separate sim group that does cloth and hair, and it's a real big challenge to make sure we're all on the same page, to make sure the hair's blonde. I've been in cinematics where the wind is blowing in one direction, the hair is going the complete opposite way. And of course that has to be fixed. But yeah, it's a big coordination effort.
My question is, you mentioned removing the goblins and Worgen from the Cataclysm cinematic. What I was wondering is, was it an intentional choice to leave like the Barrens Outpost, Darkshore, Stormwind, not having any people there to be affected by his passing?
Yeah, that's a really good question. As I said before, we thought a lot about including the races, and what I really wanted was if we were going to show races, I wanted them to just look awesome, and I don't want them to have cool stuff to do. What I think we didn't want was to have tiny little sentinels leaping off the dock in Aberdeen, or tiny little orcs spilling out of the Sky Tower. That would have felt kind of like a 70s disaster movie to me, just a little cheesy maybe. So, we felt that by making the cinematic race-free, we were actually making it more accessible and more giving everyone equal ownership of it, because whenever we talk about what races are we going to include, the follow-up question is, well, who are you going to have to exclude? Because, the idea of doing a character vignette for every race, and then on top of that telling the story of Deathwing destroying the planet, we just felt like that was kind of unmanageable. So, but we keep trying to include whatever races we can.
We have enough time for about one or two more questions.
Hi, first I'd like to thank you for coming to SCAD a couple weeks back. My question is, could you go over the shading that you did on Deathwing? Was it procedural? I was looking more at the specular and the bump. And could you talk a little bit more